Imagine this, you're sitting at your kitchen table, sipping your morning tea, when your son or daughter walks in with that look on their face. You know the one, half concern, half determination, like they're about to tell you how to run your life. Maybe they're suggesting you shouldn't drive anymore because the roads are too busy these days, or they're hinting that it's time to downsize your house because it's just too much for you. Sound familiar? If you're nodding along right now, you're not alone. As we hit our 60s, 70s, and beyond, it's natural for our kids to start worrying about us. They mean well, bless their hearts, but sometimes that worry turns into them trying to take the reins of a life you've been steering just fine for decades. And let's be honest, it can feel like a punch to the gut. You've raised them, paid your dues, and now you're supposed to just hand over your independence. No, thank you. Welcome to Golden Seniors Living, where we share practical tips, inspiring stories, and expert advice to help you live your best life after 60. Join our community of empowered seniors and discover ways to stay healthy, happy, and independent. Subscribe now and start living your golden years to the fullest. Here's the good news, you don't have to. You've got every right to keep living life on your terms, and there are some simple, practical ways to hold on to that freedom without causing a family feud. In this video, we're going to walk through 4 ways to keep your independence when your kids start trying to take over. These aren't complicated tricks or arguments, they're just straightforward steps you can take to stay in the driver's seat of your own life. So, grab a notepad if you want, or just sit back and listen, because we're starting with the first way right now. One of the best things you can do when your kids start hovering is to show them you're still sharp, capable, and in control. I'm talking about keeping your mind and body active, not to prove anything to them, but because it keeps you feeling good and confident. Think about it, if your daughter sees you out in the garden pulling weeds or your son catches you finishing a crossword puzzle faster than he can, it's a quiet little reminder that you're not slowing down anytime soon. Now, this doesn't mean you need to run a marathon or start reciting Shakespeare, unless you want to, of course. It's about doing what you enjoy and what keeps you ticking. Maybe you've always loved a morning walk around the block. Keep it up. Or if you're like my friend Betty, who's 72 and still beats everyone at bridge night, find something that lights you up and stick with it. The point is, when your kids see you staying active and engaged, it's harder for them to argue that you can't handle things. Let me tell you about my neighbor, Tom. He's 68, and last year his kids started dropping hints that he should stop driving. They'd say things like, "Dad, the traffic's so crazy now," or, "Why don't we just take you to the store?" Tom wasn't having it. He'd been driving since he was 16, and he wasn't about to give up his keys because his kids were nervous. So, what did he do? He started taking a little extra care to stay sharp. He'd do a quick walk every morning, just 15 minutes to get the blood flowing, and he picked up those brain teaser books you see at the grocery store checkout. Nothing fancy, just something to keep his mind humming. A few months later, he took his son for a drive to pick up some lumber, smooth as silk, no hesitation. His son didn't say a word about the car keys after that. Sometimes, it's those small, steady habits that send the loudest message. Now, staying active isn't just about shutting down the "you can't do it" talk, it's about how it makes you feel. When you're moving, thinking, and doing, you're reminding yourself that you're still you. And that confidence, it shines through. Your kids might still worry, mine do, too, but they'll start to see that you've got this. It's like putting up a gentle, "no trespassing" sign on your independence without ever raising your voice. Another way to keep your kids from taking over is to set some clear boundaries with love. I know, easier said than done, right? Our kids are used to us being there for them, fixing their problems, and now they think they're returning the favor. But there's a difference between accepting help when you need it and letting them call the shots. So, how do you draw that line without starting World War III? It's all about being firm but kind. Next time your daughter says, "Mom, I think we should sell the house," or your son insists on managing your checkbook, try something like this: "I appreciate how much you care, but I'm happy with how things are right now. If I need help, I'll let you know. Keep it simple, keep it warm, but don't leave room for debate. It's like when they were little and wanted cookies before dinner. You didn't yell, you just said no and moved on. Take my friend Clara, for example. She's 75, lives alone, and her kids were on her case about moving into one of those assisted living places. They'd call every week with brochures and guilt trips. Clara didn't want to fight, but she also didn't want to leave her home. So, she sat them down one Sunday over pie and coffee and said, "Listen, I love that you're looking out for me. But I've been running this house since before you were born, and I'm not ready to pack it in. If that changes, you'll be the first to know." She said it with a smile, but they got the message. And you know what? They backed off. Sometimes, all it takes is letting them know you're still the boss of you, gently, but with no wiggle room. The trick here is consistency. If you say you'll ask for help when you need it, mean it. And if you don't need it, don't let them push. It's your life, your rules. They might grumble a bit, but deep down, they'll respect you for it. Plus, it keeps the peace. Who doesn't want that? Now that we've talked about staying active and setting boundaries, let's move into something a little different, taking charge of your own decisions, big and small. That's where the real fun starts. So, we were just talking about how staying active and setting those gentle but firm boundaries can keep your kids from thinking they need to run the show. But here's where it gets even more empowering, taking charge of your own decisions, big and small. This is about reminding yourself, and your family, that you're still the one calling the shots. It's not just about saying no to their ideas, it's about saying yes to your own. And trust me, there's something downright satisfying about that. Let's start with the little stuff, because that's where it all builds up. Maybe your daughter keeps insisting on doing your grocery shopping for you, or your son's always tinkering with your thermostat because he thinks you can't figure it out. Next time that happens, take the reins back. Head to the store yourself, grab that cart, pick out your favorite brand of coffee, maybe even treat yourself to a little something extra. Or when your son reaches for the thermostat, beat him to it. Turn it up, turn it down, whatever you want, and say, "I've got it, thanks." It's not about being stubborn, it's about showing them you're still in the game. Those small choices add up, and before you know it, they're not questioning the bigger ones. Now, let's talk about the big decisions, because that's where your kids might really dig in their heels. Maybe they're pushing you to sell your car or move somewhere easier to manage. This happened to my buddy Frank, who's 70 and still loves his old pickup truck. His kids were dead set on him getting rid of it, saying he didn't need it anymore. Frank didn't argue, he just took action. He got his truck tuned up, passed his driver's test with flying colors, and even took his grandkids fishing in it one weekend. When his daughter saw how much joy that truck still brought him, she stopped nagging. The point is, when you make your own moves and show they're working, it's hard for anyone to tell you otherwise. Here's the thing, you don't have to explain yourself every time. You've earned the right to decide what's best for you. If you want to keep your house, your car, or even that ancient recliner they hate, do it. Just make sure you're doing it safely and sensibly, get that oil changed, keep up with the house maintenance, whatever it takes. When your kids see you handling your business, they're more likely to step back and let you be. And honestly, it feels good to flex that decision-making muscle. It's like dusting off an old skill you forgot you had. Speaking of handling your business, that brings us to the fourth way to keep your independence: build a little support team that's not your kids. I know it sounds funny. Like you're putting together a squad for a heist, but hear me out. Sometimes, the reason our kids try to take over is because they think they're the only ones who can help us. And sure, they're family, but they don't have to be your whole world. Having a few trusty folks in your corner can take the pressure off them and keep you in control. Think about who's already around you. Maybe it's a neighbor who's good with a lawnmower, or a friend from church who loves to chat over the phone. Even better, lean on the pros when you need to. Hire a handyman for that leaky faucet instead of waiting for your son to fix it. Get a ride from a service or a pal instead of relying on your daughter to play chauffeur. My friend Doris, who's 77, swears by this. Her kids used to fuss over every little thing, until she started calling her neighbor Jim to help with the yard and booked a cleaning lady once a month. Suddenly, her kids didn't feel like they had to swoop in all the time. Doris says it's like she gave them permission to relax, and she got her space back. This isn't about cutting your kids out, it's about widening your circle. You've got friends, neighbors, maybe even a grandkid or two who'd love to pitch in without the bossy attitude. And don't be shy about it. People like feeling useful. I remember my Uncle Ray, who's 82 now. He started asking his buddy down the street to help with small projects, like fixing a squeaky door or hauling stuff to the dump. His daughter used to hover like a hawk, but once she saw Ray had his crew, she eased up. Plus, Ray says he's having more fun than ever with his pals. The beauty of this is it keeps your independence intact while letting your kids off the hook. They don't need to worry so much, and you don't have to feel like they're watching your every move. It's a win-win. You're still the captain of your ship, but you've got a few deckhands to help with the heavy lifting. And who knows, maybe you'll even enjoy the company. Now that we've covered building your support team, let's wrap this all together and talk about how these steps can really change the game for you. So, we've just been chatting about how building a little support team can lighten the load and keep your kids from feeling like they've got to step in all the time. It's like giving yourself some breathing room while still holding the reins. And that's really what all of this comes down to, finding ways to stay you, no matter how much your kids worry or fuss. These 4 steps we've walked through together aren't about pushing your family away, they're about pulling your independence closer, hugging it tight, and showing everyone, including yourself, that you've still got plenty of spark left. Let's circle back for a moment, not to repeat ourselves, but just to feel how these pieces fit. When you keep your mind and body humming with things you love, whether it's a walk in the park or a tricky puzzle, it's like a quiet signal to your kids that you're not fading into the background. Then, when you set those kind but clear boundaries, you're drawing a line in the sand that says, I love you, but I've got this. Taking charge of your decisions, from picking your groceries to keeping your old car running, reinforces that you're the one steering the ship. And rounding up a few good folks to lean on, friends, neighbors, or even a hired hand, means you're not just relying on your kids to keep your world turning. Put it all together, and what do you get? A life that's still yours, plain and simple. I think about my Aunt Marge, who's 79 and the spunkiest woman I know. Her kids were all over her a couple of years back, convinced she couldn't manage her big old house anymore. Marge didn't fight them, she just lived her way. She'd tend her roses every morning, tell her son no thanks when he tried to take over her bills, and kept her handyman on speed dial for the heavy stuff. One day, her daughter came by and saw Marge hosting a card game with her pals, laughing like a teenager. That was it, no more talk about moving her out. Marge told me later, I didn't have to say much. They saw I was fine, and that was that. It's not about proving a point, it's about living it. And here's the best part, these little moves don't just keep your independence, they make life sweeter. When you're doing what you love, surrounded by people who get you, and making your own calls, you feel lighter. Your kids might still hover now and then, mine do, and I bet yours will too, but they'll start to see you differently. Not as someone they need to fix, but as the strong, capable person who raised them. That's a gift you give yourself, and honestly, it's a gift for them too. They get to stop worrying so much and just enjoy you. If you're sitting there thinking, okay, but where do I start? Don't overthink it. Pick one thing. Maybe tomorrow you take a stroll around the block, just because you feel like it. Or next time your son offers to handle something, smile and say, I've got it, but thanks. Call up a friend you haven't seen in a while and ask them over for tea. Small steps, big difference. You don't have to change everything overnight, just nudge the dial back toward you, bit by bit. Before you know it, you'll feel that old confidence creeping back, and your kids will notice it too. I'd love to hear how this lands with you. Have your kids ever tried to take the wheel when you weren't ready to let go? Maybe you've already found a trick that works. Drop it in the comments below, because we're all in this together. Sharing those stories keeps us connected, and who knows, you might just inspire someone else watching right now. If you've enjoyed this chat, give the video a little like. It helps more folks like us find it. And if you want more ideas for living your best life at any age, hit that subscribe button. There's plenty more where this came from. Here's the bottom line. You've spent years building a life you're proud of, and you deserve to keep it yours. Your kids might mean well, but they don't get to rewrite your story. Stay active, set your boundaries, make your choices, and lean on your crew. It's all you need to keep shining. So, here's to you, to me, to all of us, living free, feeling good, and showing the world we're not done yet. If this sparks something for you, why not try one of these steps this week and let me know how it goes in the comments. I'd love to hear your stories, and while you're there, give this video a quick like and hit subscribe so we can keep these chats going. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one.